What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today is the Memphis Cities round 4, and on our left we have Blake, and on our right we have Noah. I think it's Noah. There's two brothers, Noah and Luke Hubbard. I usually just call them, I just yell Hubbards, and usually one answers me. But we're seeing, I'm pretty sure that Blake is playing an Yveltal Gallade Zoroark deck, and Noah is playing a Night March deck. I know for sure what Noah is playing at this point. Here we go. We start the game, and neither one started with like the optimal starter. Like Blake started Shaman, Noah started a Latios. I guess so he could donk like Combis and other Night Marches, but we see Noah discard 3 Lampets, and that's all you really want to do with Night March. You just want to discard a bunch of Pokemon in your first turn with Battle Compressor. Let's see what else he's got. He's got a Pumpkaboo. We see an Acrobike, and he'll probably grab the Battle Compressor, discard some more Pokemon. We see a Lampet, a Joltik, or Pumpkaboo, and maybe add another Pumpkaboo, just trying to get all of them in the discard pile. So he has 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 Pokemon, 120 damage already turn 1 if he was to attack. Now, if Blake is playing the Yveltal Gallade Zoroark deck, like I think he has the advantage, just because, you know, he has the baby Yveltal, he has the Gallade, he has the Zoroark to all take knockouts on these non-EX Pokemon. But we see that, whoa, he discards like 2 DCEs? Whoa, that seems pretty crazy. I don't know if I would do that turn 1 or not. I think it was 2 DCs, maybe it was just 1. Hopefully it wasn't 2, because that'd be really bad. Okay, we see that Noah's debating the Battle Compressor. Okay, gonna play the Battle Compressor. I don't see why you wouldn't, because you can always just like opt to just discard 1 Night Marcher. You don't have to discard all 3, but you do have to discard at least 1. And we see a Teammates and a Lysander getting discarded as well. Alright. So a Teammates Lysander and a Joltik gets discarded last turn. And just a pass from Noah. He can't really attack turn 1. We're just calling Noah Hubbard, because I'm not sure if it's... I'm pretty sure it's Noah. I could be wrong, and it could be Luke. But we see an Ultra Ball from Blake. That Ding Dang Glare. And look, I think Blake's like left-handed. Is he left-handed? Because his deck's on the left side, so that must mean he is left-handed. Oh, buddy, there you go. But we've seen Ultra Ball discarding a Lysander and a mystery card. I don't know what that is. Actually, I can't really tell. That Glare is pretty bad. And I don't know what Pokemon he showed. He showed Hubbard what Pokemon it was, but it was so quick, I don't even pay attention. I didn't even see what it was. They were seeing Acrobike. Okay, gonna look at the top 2 cards of his deck. Looks like he discards a Muscle Band, another Acrobike. Maybe he doesn't have a supporter card right now. Discards a Dark Energy. Okay, and that's good for Oblivion Wing. We see a Dark Energy on a Shaman. We see a Shaman drawn up to 3. Maybe it was 4. I'm not sure. Zoro comes down. And Hubbard has to pick up the Zoro to see what it actually does. And are we just going to see a pass? Yeah, so no support from Blake turn 1. Just a pass. We see a DC go down to Joltik. We see a switch in Hubbard's hand as well. So he can switch into Joltik for the knockout. He doesn't even need the invention value to knock it out with Pumpkaboo. And there's a Night March for like 240, maybe. Yeah, I think 240. I think there was 12 Pokemon with this card. Probably see a First Seeker for the Lysander, bringing up the Latios back up to the active, making it where Hubbard needs another switch, which I don't know if he has right now. We saw Blake show his hand, and obviously it wasn't really good if he had to show his hand. And we see he has a Psychic Energy, goes into the Joltik. And let's see, does he get another switch? If Hubbard gets another switch here, it's pretty much game over. I mean, he's going to take in 4 prize cards in 3 turns, which is bad. Now, if Hubbard doesn't play... Oh, nope. We see just pass from Hubbard. Going to go to Blake's turn. Looks like it went to Blake's turn. We saw him physically play a Zoroark Break. Looking at Hubbard's discard pile. See what he's all played. Trying to figure out how many Night Marches are in there. I think this is what he's doing right now. So Zoroark Break comes down. We see Hubbard pick it up. Like, what does this card do? So you can see that Noah's not really, I guess, informed maybe of what these cards do. But it doesn't matter. If you're Night March, you're just gonna go. You're gonna Night March, take some knockouts of Pokemon, and call it a day. We see a DCE. Never mind. Yes, DC will go on down to the Zoroark Break. All right. And we see a First Seeker for Lysander, bringing up Shaman. A Stand In, which is basically like a Russian from Keldeo. And we're going to see a Mind Jack for a knockout. Now, Blake will take 2 prize cards, but this gives Noah the capability to attack with the Joltik this turn to knock out the Zoroark and take off Blake's, like, pretty much his only, I guess, attacker on the field. Like, he has Shaman, but he can't really attack with it. Like, he could attach a DC to it and Sky Return for the knockout onto a Joltik, but if Hubbard can get down to Dimension Valley this turn and attack with a Pumpkaboo, that kind of makes it where Blake can't take a knockout next turn, which is great. And we see a teammate's grabbing 2 cards out of his deck, and I imagine, okay, so there's the Dimension Valley that he needs. We see a Bumblebee as well, so he can use that to get back the DCEs. And he's going to retreat into Joltik. Now, like I said, I don't know if how much I like this play. I would, well, unless the Zoroark has resistant to, I will even have resistance to Psychic. He has a Muscle Band, so it's a knockout regardless. And like I said, the only thing I'm scared of right now, if he attaches a DC to the active, is Sky Returns. But we see Blake just scoop the game. He realizes, like, oh, there's no way I'm going to win this. I haven't played a supporter card. Alright, so, what did we learn from game 1? Well, not playing a supporter card makes you lose games, basically. I mean, we really didn't see anything from Blake. We don't even know he's playing Gallade. All we saw was a Zoroark break come all the way down into Shaman's. We didn't see an Yveltal. We didn't see a Yveltal EX. We didn't see a Gallade get discarded ever. We didn't see a Maxie's discarded. Man, it was just, I don't know. Maybe Blake's not playing Gallade. I know day 2 he was playing the Gallade version. And like I said, I'm not sure if he was playing it day 1. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I didn't talk about Blake. I didn't see what deck he was playing either. So, big mystery, but like I said before in other rounds, Memphis Cities is best 2 out of 3, and I imagine Blake will want to go first. Now, Blake will want to get multiple Pokemon down turn 1, because if he doesn't, Night March can take a knockout turn 1 pretty easily, but we see Blake does have 2 Pokemon. He gets a Baby Zora, Zora, and Yveltal. So, better turn. Trainer's Mode, look at top 4 cards of his deck and grab a Trainer card. And he gets a Lysander, I think. There we see an Ultra Ball discarding a... Oh, okay, a Lysander and a Maxie's. Okay, so there is a Maxie's in there. So he does obviously play Gallade. I mean, why else would you get out of Maxie? We see a Muscle Bang on a Zora. And we see a Sycamore. Wow, really good turn 1 from Blake. The only thing that kind of like beats a turn 1 from this is getting the turn 1 Gallade out, obviously. Alright. And we see a pass onto Hubbard's turn. Now we see a Mustang go down. We see a Bumblebee. We see an Acrobike looking at the top 2 cards of his deck and picking a card. We see the Muscle Band. So he has 1 Night Merchant in the discard pile. He only needs 3. Or no, 2 with the Muscle Band can knock out the Zora because he only has 60 HP. We see an Ultra Ball going to Hubbard's hand, which he can use to get out of Shaman to draw up to 6. He already has 2 Shamans in his hand. Holy moly. We see an Ultra Ball discarding Ultra Ball and a Muscle Band. Probably getting out, okay, a Night Marcher, so yeah, Joltik comes down. Now, maybe Hubbard could have held on to one of those Ultra Balls, so that way he can Ultra Ball away the Joltik. I imagine he might have another Ultra Ball, like why would you have discarded an Ultra Ball on a Muscle Band, and it doesn't look like he does, but he does have the Sycamore this turn, so he can Sycamore, discard his hand, and draw a fresh new 7. Alrighty, so, oh, another Shaman. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is it gives Blake's multiple targets to knock out with his, Zoroark and maybe Yveltal, maybe Gallade. Because with the Gallade and a Lysander, you can't just one-shot Shaman, so that's something that Noah or Hubbard would have to watch out for. Let's see what's going to happen now. We're going to see Sycamore discard his hand, draw 7 new cards. He does not have a DCE yet. Oh, man, will he whiff a DCE? And it looks like he might actually. Okay, we see a Battle Compressor. Going to discard 3 more cards out of his deck. We see a Pumpkaboo. Maybe discard that Latios because he doesn't really need it, or teammates if he doesn't have it in the discard pile already with this other supporter. Battle Compressor. If the Latios is in the prize card, then yeah, then I agree with that. But like I said, if he no, okay. If the Latios is in the deck, he would want to deck of course discard that. But I see the Latios in Hubbard's hand. We see a Pumpkaboo coming down. The question is, does he play another Shaman? It doesn't look like it because he has a full bench now because that's 5 Pokemon. Seeing a Hawlucha come down, but he can't put it down because there's already 5 Pokemon on the bench. All right, it looks like we're just gonna see a pass. Okay, so. Alright, that's not what you want from Night March turn 1. You want to hit that DC, because now if Blake takes a prize card this turn, Hubbard's going to be down in prices, which is not what you want. We see a Zoroark come down. Does it already have a DC? I think it's a muscle band. I'm like 99% sure it's a muscle band. We see an Ultra Ball. Discarding another Ultra Ball. Man, Blake has like all blinged out Ultra Balls. Like, those were like $100 a piece, I feel like. I don't know how much they are actually. We've seen Ultra Ball discarding a Trainer's Mail and a Super Rod. Maybe it wasn't a Trainer's Mail. I feel like it was. And he's going to get a Shaman here so he can help set up to draw 6 new cards. Now, he's going to want... most likely what he'll want is a Zoroark or a Flowstone and a Dark Energy. That's what he wants right now. So that way he can Oblivion Wing, start pounding up his other attackers. Did he get the Dark Energy or not to attack this turn? An Acrobat can look at top 2 cards of his deck, and let's see what he decides to get. Discard the Battle Compressor. Put a DC on Shaman, and he's just going to Sky Return. And I actually really do like that play. Like, you're picking up your Shaman, you're going to get out of harm's way, making that be able to Lysander, be a Lysander target. And we see a DC, Hawlucha, Sycamore, so Hubbard must have top decked that DC, because if he had a last turn, he would have used it. And we're going to see a Night March knockout this Yveltal, and that should be a knockout. Like, it hits for weakness regardless. Alright, so on to Blake's turn. Does he get the Dark Energy? He has yet to play a Dark Energy. There we see another Zoroark come down. We see a... Nope, don't... Well, he could Mind Jack. Like, don't get me wrong. He could Mind Jack right now. But I would not Mind Jack unless I am knocking out a Shaman. And that's what we're going to see here. We're going to see a Lysander bring up the Shaman. And we're going to see a Mind Jack for 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 160 damage because of Hubbard's bench being full. We see another Zora. I think that's his 4 Zora, unless he's super raw the other one in. I definitely thought he'd discard a Zora. So Blake is playing like a really, really heavy Zora line. Maybe he doesn't play Yveltal EX. Maybe he opted not to play it. We see a DC going onto the bench. Joltik. Hubbard does have the teammates. I'm not really sure what he's going to look for, though. I mean, he has pretty much everything he needs. He's just gonna have to hope that Blake like whiffs an attack, because right now Blake is in like full control. He's gonna take a knockout continuously unless he whiffs like a Dark Energy, which we haven't seen him play one. We've seen another Joltik come down, and we're gonna see a Night March knocking out this Zoroark for sure. They retreat into Joltik. How is there so many DCs on board now? Oh, because Blake brought up another one and attacked it. There we see another. He plays the promo Yveltal as well. Looks like we see a Verse Seeker or a Lysander bringing up the Shaman, having another DC, and he will go down to 1 prize card. Alright, looks like Blake is going to win this game. Like, unless he whips the Dark Energy next turn, he should win this game. On to Noah's turn, and looks like we're going to see a concession. Alright, so on to game... Oh, that's not a concession. There we go. So on to game 3, and you can see like how good of a matchup the Yveltal Zoroark deck has. Like we know that Noah did miss he did miss the first turn DC, but Blake had the back-to-back Lysanders own their Shamans, basically like changed the whole game up. And that's the thing you have to watch out for while playing the Night March deck is if you put down too many Shamans, you can be punished by those Zoroarks. You know, the Mind Jack is a lot. If they put down the Gallade, the Sensitive Blade or whatever it's called is a lot as well. So on to game number 3. What did we learn from game number 2? Well, playing a Sport card kind of makes you win if you're playing the Yveltal Zoroark deck. And like I said, I think the Yveltal Zoroark deck should have a good it should have like a good shot to win. But we'll see what happens in game number 3. We saw Blake not really do anything in game number 1. And we're going to see, okay. Let's see what happens this game. Well, Noah not getting Pokemon? Well, I mean, maybe he will never get a Pokemon. We're going to see 7 cards. And it looks like he started with the Hawlucha, which is a good starter to have for sure. And there we see a Shaman start from Blake. Oh, no. That's not what you want to see. Turn 1, like, started with Shaman. Unless, like, you can put down a bunch of Pokemon and then put a DC and then Sky Return onto a Joltik. But Shaman will not knock out the Hawlucha. The max it can do is 50. Unless Blake somehow Archie's out an Apollyon to do plus 20. then I can knock out this Hallelujah because then it's 50, but I doubt he's playing Sizoto. I mean, Polion. That'd be pretty crazy. Now we see a Trainer's Mail from Noah. I guess he's debating what card he should get. He's going to grab a Teammates. And if he has like a Sycamore, he can just discard the Teammates, putting it into his discard pile, which is a great move, obviously. Let's see what else. We're going to see a Verse Seeker or Sycamore, and he's just going to discard that stuff. Yeah, the Latios not really useful. I'm not sure what else was in there. We see a DCE, a Joltik, Pumpkaboo, a DCE, Muscleman goes down, Acrobike, going to get that Bumblebee, putting it down. And probably just a pass. You can't attack turn 1. And yep, just a pass. Alright, on to Blake's turn. Let's see what Blake has. A DC going out to the Shaman. We see a Zora, an Yveltal. If he has the Lysander here to bring up that Joltik, that'd be huge. Like, Lysander the Joltik, take a knockout, and Sky Return to a baby Yveltal. But nope, we see a Judge. Alright, which, it's okay, because what can happen now is maybe Hubbard doesn't hit, like, a Shaman. Well, he hasn't played any Shaman so far, so he has 3 left in the deck, so the possibility of him hitting one is pretty high, especially if he hits, like, an Ultra Ball, getting a Shaman, and drawing up to 4. We'll have to see what happens. But the bad thing about Judge as well is you can also give yourself a dead hand, like, just looking at, like you're like, oh, my 4 cards are bad. Now, Judge, you know, some people think it does disrupt your opponent, but you gotta remember that your opponent is getting 4 cards, and then they get another card drawing for the turn, so it's like they kind of played a Shauna. We're gonna see an Acrobat from Blake, and let's see what he gets. Discard the DCE, so the other card must be something really, really useful. Like, why else would you, like, discard a DCE? And we're gonna see a Sky Return for 30, and it's sitting with the Zora, which I guess is okay. I guess you want to conserve your Yveltals for being knocked out, because those are your best way of energy accelerating onto your bench Pokemon with Oblivion Wing, which we haven't seen being used this game so far. And we're going to see a Trainer's Mail, maybe grabbing the Lysander. Yep, grabbing the Lysander. Okay. Now, Hubbard does have the DC on the Joltik, so he can knock out whatever he wants to this turn. And he could potentially Lysander with his Yveltal and take a knockout on it, and basically get rid of Blake's energy acceleration, which I think is a great play. And we see that Hubbard does do that, and he's going to Ultra Ball, discarding a Lysander, or not a Lysander, a Psychic, and a Switch. And I don't know how much I like this play, because what if Hubbard's like next card is like a Sycamore? He's already really played everything that he needs for the turn. We see a Dimension Valley come down and the Joltik come down. We see an Acrobike. Going to keep that DC, of course. You don't want to discard that. And see a Treat and a Nightmare for a knockout. But like I said, now Blake has a Lysander target to basically bring up in his favor of this game. We're going to see an Ultra Ball. And we saw an Yveltal EX. So we know he does play Yveltal EX, and there's a Gallade coming down as well. Alright, so we know for sure that Blake does play Gallade. We have yet to see him play the Gallade, and we're going to finally see the Gallade get Ultra Balled away. Alright, let's see what he decides to get here. He's going to get a Zoroark. Okay, now if he gets a DCE, he could knock out this Joltik, for sure. We know he has Shaman in his hand. We know he has a Shaman and a DC in his hand. So there's this. Oh no. Yes, he should, yeah, because he judged last turn, and then Sky Return, we see a DC come down. Shaman, Yveltal, Maxis. Oh, so when he played the Shaman, he opted not to use the Shaman, which is pretty cool. But the bad thing about this now is that Hubbard has 2 EX Pokemon just sitting there like, oh, I can knock out any of these Pokemon anytime I want to, which might be Blake's downfall. Like, you usually don't want to get down Shaman and, like, Yveltal in this matchup, because those are just easy Lysander targets. They're both weak to Lightning, so as long as Hubbard has, like, a DC and a Lysander in his hand over and over again, he's probably going to win this game. He only has to take 5 prize cards, and 4 of those are going to be off EX Pokemon, unless Blake can do that Sky Return play with Shaman to knock out a Joltik. That could be one of the things he could do to basically conserve his EXs from being knocked out. So we see that Hubbard's counting how many Pokemon in his discard pile. He's going to send the Hallelujah regardless. It does have free retreat. And onto Hubbard's turn. He's got the DC in his hand. But does he have a Lysander? And if he does have a Lysander, I would definitely bring up that Shaman first. Basically making it where your opponent can't Sky Return with it. Now, if I was Hubbard and I don't have the Lysander in my hand, I would actually probably... I think he has a Psychic Energy in his hand. I would actually put on the Pumpkaboo and Night March the Zoroark in the active spot. We see Sycamore discarding his hand, draw 7. I guess. I mean, I think I would still put down the Pumpkaboo, put a DC on it, and knock out the Zoroark. because you don't want to run into a situation where your opponent can Sky Return with Shaman to knock out a Joltik, because right now you can't Sky Return a Pumpkaboo for knockout. That's impossible. Pumpkaboo has 60 HP. We're going to see Joltik come up, and we're going to see a Night March for the knockout. It should be for the knockout. Like, there's so many Pokemon in this discard pile. Now, what can happen for the next 2 turns is, well, we're going to see, oh, does he have a DCE? We're going to see a Sycamore discarding his hand, drawing 7 cards. Does he get the DCE? The Sky Return is the big question. Does he get the DCE or not? We are waiting together. Let's see. Does he get out the DCE? I mean, if he did have it, I imagine he would just slap in. Oh, okay. So he does have the DCE onto the Shaman. And this is what I'm talking about. You want to conserve your Night Marchers or your Joltiks for being Sky Return. So if you're in a Night March situation and you get attacked with Pumpkaboo, you always want to attack with Pumpkaboo. You could be scared that, oh no, my Dimension Value could be bumped by something. But now we're going to see a Sky Return knocking out the Joltik. And if there was a Pumpkaboo in the active spot, yeah, Blake could pick up his Shaman, but he's not taking a knockout. So now we're going to see prizes be equal. And now Hubbard's going to have to take out 3 Pokemon. He's going to take out the Yveltal and 2 other attackers. So we're going to see a knockout on the Joltik. And we're going to see a Yveltal come up. We're going to see the Hawlucha be opponent by Hubbard. And let's see what happens. We're going to see a Revive, picking out that Joltik, putting a DC on it. And man, I don't know how. Like, please don't attack with Joltik again. We might see it happen, because the same situation is going to happen now. If he Night Marches with Joltik, and then if Blake's able to Sky Return with the Shaman to knock out the Joltik, that's not good. Now, regardless, if Blake does get a Dark Energy, he can just easily knock out this Yveltal. And I think Noah should be okay. All he has to do is knock out 2 Pokemon now, and he wins the game. Unless Blake can somehow disrupt his hand, like Ace Trainer him down to 3 or something. Hubbard's just playing with his Shaman's a bundle, but he's trying to figure out which way this should face. But we see a DC going out to the... Okay, no, we don't. Never mind. Floatstone onto the Yveltal. And if Blake can get a Dark Energy on this Yveltal, that's what I would rather use this turn. I'd rather use Oblivion Wing to knock out this Joltik. We see a Battle Compressor going to discard 3 cards out of his deck. Maybe just useless cards. You have to at least discard 1 with Battle Compressor, but you can discard up to 3, depending on what you have in there. We see a Dark Energy getting discarded. And that's just going to be it. Maybe there's no Dark Energies in the discard pile, so Blake wants to be able to Oblivion Wing a Dark Energy out from the discard pile into play. And let's see, does he get a Dark Energy? There's a... What is that? Is that a Muscle Band? I think that's a Muscle Band. It better be a Muscle Band, and I think it's a Muscle Band. It's some kind of tool card for sure. And we see Super Rod getting back. I'm not sure what he didn't even show us. He probably showed Hubbard. He probably did show us, but it was so fast we probably just couldn't see it. Alright, so we're going to see a... Oh my goodness. Blake, please do not put down the Shaman. Well, he does have DC in his hand, so he can't Sky Return this Joltik for a knockout. So DC goes down to Shaman. And we're going to see a knockout onto this Joltik. We see a Verse Seeker for a Judge. Going to put both opponents at 4. Now, this will disrupt Hubbard some, but we know Hubbard has multiple Shamans in his deck. He's only played 1 so far. I don't think he's discarded any others. And he gets 4 cards. He has a Verse Seeker and a Sycamore. And we know that Hubbard does have the teammates in his discard pile. So he can, like, Verse Seeker for, like, a Revive and a DCE to take a knockout this turn. Or maybe an Energy and a Revive. They would see a DC. He top 6 the DCE regardless. Oh, buddy. Okay, so let's see what Hubbard decides to do. Like I said, if he has a Verse Seeker, he can Verse Seeker for teammates. Getting out maybe Revive and or a Night Marcher, he already has it in the DC in his hand, so he should be okay. We see a teammates come out, and he could grab that Pumpkaboo. Then we see 1 card, and the Pumpkaboo. So 1 card is a Pumpkaboo for sure. And the big question here, does Hubbard have another Psychic Energy? We see a DC in his hand for sure. Okay, so he does have the Psychic Energy. He can Night March with that bench Pumpkaboo with 2 Psychic Energies. And we're going to see Retreat and a Night March for the knockout. Yes, Hubbard, there is enough Pokemon in the discard pile, especially since that Pokemon is weak to Lightning. We see a Zoroark come up, and this is probably going to be game unless Blake can judge him once again and just pray that Hubbard does not have the DC. I think that's the last DC in his deck is the one in his hand. We're going to see an Ultra Ball, discard a Floatstone, and a Battle Compressor. Alright, and let's see what he decides to get. Just waiting to see Zoroark. Okay, Zoroark break, which I'm not sure how helpful it is right now. Like Zoroark break, I mean it can mimic Night March, but Blake doesn't have any Night Marches in his discard pile, so it will literally do nothing. We see a Zoroark break come down, a DC going on to the Zoroark break, and a Shaman, and that doesn't really matter. Like Hubbard can already win the game regardless, and that's going to be the game unless Blake plays a Judge to disrupt this DCE. Oh man, does Blake have a... Okay, so we see a Verse Seeker for a Judge, and he's going to play the Judge, putting both people at 4 cards. But look at Hubbard's deck. It is so... Like, it doesn't have that many cards in it, so the possibility of him hitting that DC is very likely, especially since he does play teammates with Verse Seekers. Like, oh my goodness. And I think the very first card was a DCE. So Hubbard will win this game. We see a Shaman as well. So Hubbard had so many else. And we're going to see Night March take this 2-1. Yep, and there's the DCE coming down and taking a knockout against the Zoroark deck. Alright, so that is game number 3. We saw the Night March deck take down the Yveltal Zoroark Gallade deck. We didn't see the Gallade really come down from Blake until late of game 3, which is not great at all, because you always want to get out pretty early. But hopefully you enjoyed round 4 of the Memphis Cities. There's one more round left, and then we'll have top 8, top 4, and then the finals. So look forward to the last and final round. It should be an exciting one. Alright, everybody, have a great day, and we'll see you in the round 5 of the Memphis Cities. Alrighty, bye.